Hello, everybody. I am the Sauntering Spellcaster, sauntering through your mind and other places. I do want to finish this book, though I'm probably going to have to read smaller chunks of it as at a time, simply because it can get it can be a bit much on your voice constantly reading for several hours at a time. I do intend to get back to Persona 5. I also have videos in the works. I recorded a script and I'm learning more about stuff with Filmora. So I'm hoping to get some stuff done with that. But I wanted to get back into the swing of things after spring break. So, without further ado, let's get to reading. Runo 26, On the Road to Pajola. Ati lived upon an island, in an inlet of Cape Far. He was plowing in the field, making furrows in the fallow. He was very keen of hearing, ears especially alert. From the village comes a clatter, echoing from beyond the lake, tramp of hoofs upon the ice, rumbling sleigh upon the heath. Then it struck him, the idea, a wedding's there at Pojola. A secret crowd, a drinking bout. He curled his lip and skewed his head, tearing at his big black whiskers, as the blood drained from his cheeks. Red cheeks of the wretched man. Right away he quit his plowing, left the plow there in mid-meadow, leaped upon his horse's back, and he set out for his home, galloping home to his mother, to his most devoted mother. On arriving there he said, "O my mother, venerable woman, get some food out for me quickly." That a hungry man may eat, for an eager man to bite on. At the same time heat the sauna, and prepare the cabin quickly, that a man may cleanse himself, that a man may groom himself. Readily his mother served him, set a meal before him quickly, that the hungry man might eat, for the eager man to bite on, while a bath for one was readying, in the same time the sauna heated. So he ate his dinner quickly, and at once went to the sauna, went into the bathing room. There the chaffinch bathed himself. The snow bunting cleansed his body, washed his hair to flaxen hue, scrubbed his neck to wondrous whiteness. On returning from the sauna, he again addressed his mother. "O my mother, venerable woman, from the storehouse on the hill, bring me down my finest clothing, my very best of all my wardrobe, so that I can dress in style, set my figure off in fashion." But his mother interrupted, and she managed to inquire, "Where now are you going, son? Going off to hunt a lynx? Or to chase the elks on skis? Or perhaps for squirrel shooting?" Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded, "O my mother, my dear bearer, I am not going to hunt a lynx, nor to chase an elk on skis, nor to any squirrel shooting. I am bound for Pojola, for the secret drinking bout. So bring down my finest clothing, very best of all my wardrobe, to be shown off at a wedding, to be clad in at a party." Mother now forbade her son, and the wife forbade her husband. Vainly both of them protested, and three nature's spirits joined them, forbidding Leminkainen's leaving for the feast at Pohjola. Said the mother to her son, spoke the parent to the child. Do not go, my boy, my own, my precious son far-minded, to the feast at Pohjola, to that dreadful mob of drinkers. You were neither asked nor wanted. You're not wanted there at all, said the wayward Leminkainen. Wretched people go on summons. Worthy people like free dancers. Here's a summons old as moonlight, and a summoner unfailing, in my fire's swift sword enduring, in my flashing blade assuring. But his mother still insisted, do not go there, my poor boy. Do not go to that Northland stewing. Many strange things are on the way, and great wonders on the road. 3 times Tuoni will be waiting. Thrice will death's hand reach out for you. Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded. That's the talk of all you women, death, destruction everywhere. But a brave man does not bother, does not hedge himself with omens. Never mind that now, but tell me, that my ears may hear it plainly. What's the first doom that awaits me? Tell the first one to the last one. Then his mother answered firmly, said the aging gentlewoman, I will tell the doom by causes, not according to your wishes. I will name the first doom first, and it's what you'll come to first. You will go a little way, just a journey of a day. You will reach a flaming river, blazing right across your road. First there are the fiery falls, beneath the falls a blazing island, on the isle a flaming hill, on its peak a flaming eagle, sharpening its beak at night, its 3 talons in the daytime, for all the stripping of all strangers, for the ripping of all rovers. Answered wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded. This may be a doom for women, but for a brave man it's no menace. I recall a stunt already, cunning trick to foil the eagle. Out of alder I will conjure horse and rider to precede me, or to go along beside me. I myself will drive down safely, as a mallard or an old squaw, far below the big bird's talons, out of reach of griffin's claw nails. Of my mother, oh my mother, my dear bearer, tell me what's the second doom? And his worried mother told him. Second day, a second doom. On your second day of travel, you will reach a trench of fire, stretching right across your road, running ever farther eastward and northwestward out of sight, full of hot stones redly glowing, banked with crackling boulders blazing. Hundreds have attempted it, thousands tried to force their way. 100 brave men with their swords, and 1,000 armored stallions. Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded. In that there is no man's doom, nor the death of any person. I recall another ruse. I devised a foil already. I'll just conjure up a snowman, my own image out of snow, send it over through the fire pit, flailing with a copper slapper, like a bather in a sauna. I myself am unharmed behind it, will come strolling through the fire, without singeing a single hair from my scalp or from my beard. O my mother, my dear bearer, tell me what's the last destruction? Leminkainen's mother answered, Woe the third upon the third day. You will go a little farther, just the journey of a day, as you near the gates of Pajola, where the roadway narrows sharply. There a wolf will spring upon you, and a bear will be a second. There at Pajola's dim portal, where the roadway narrows sharply, they have eaten 100 men, have devoured 1,000 brave ones. Why should they not eat you also, unprotected as you will be? Said Leminkainen, That's no worry. Let them eat the ewe as mutton, tear the raw flesh into pieces. But no man, the worst of them, however helpless he may be, by a brave man's belt I'm girded, with a brave man's buckle tongue, clasped around me by a buckle, so that I'll not yet be swallowed by the wolves of Untamoinen down the maw of those damned creatures. I recall a spell for wolves, and another for the bears. For the wolf I'll sing a muzzle, ironed fetters for the bear. Or then chop them both to pieces, pound them through a sieve to powder. Thus I'll clear myself of danger, and arrive at journey's end. But his mother answered, warning, Even so, you're not there yet. Those are only on your way there, those great wonders on your journey. 3 horrendous hazards waiting, 3 deaths there for any man. Even after you arrive there, you will meet still greater horrors. Go on just a little farther, and you'll be at Pajola. Round the park of Pajola is a fence as strong as iron, or as strong as any steel one. From the earth to heaven uprearing, from the sky to ground down closing, it is staked with upright lances, wattled with the snakes of earth, withed with snakes and tied with lizards, where their tails are weirdly waving, and their club heads weirdly swaying, with a hideous sound of hissing, tails turned inwards, heads turned outwards. On the ground are other serpents, a long line of vicious adders, upward hissing with their tongues, downward lashing with their tails. One's more frightful than the others, on the ground across the gateway, longer than a cabin rafter, even thicker than a gatepost, upward spitting with his tongue, upward hissing with his mouth, aiming at no other person than yourself, unlucky man. Wayward Leminkainen answered, spoke the handsome man far-minded, Such might make a doom for children, but for a brave man it's no doom. I now know how to quench a fire, and extinguish any flame, how to exorcise the worms, and turn away the serpents. It was only yesterday I ploughed up a field of adders, turning up a nest of serpents with my hands entirely bare, handled adders with my nails, and the serpents in my hands, and I killed at least 10 adders, crushed 100 of the black worms, adder's blood smeared on my fingers, hands all slobbered up with snake grease. So it's not so very likely, not at all, that I'll become just a mouthful for the monster, victim of the vicious serpent. I myself will choke the monsters, squeeze the nasty things to death, sing the adders far away, send the serpents slithering off, then cross the yard and go inside, crashed the party at Pajola. Said his mother, "Do not go to the house of Pajola, into long-walled Sedgeland village. There are men with belted swords, henchmen harnessed in their war gear, crazy men and madly drunk, mean ones after too much drinking. They will chant a spell on you, sing you under swift sharp swords. They have sung down better men, even nobler men undone." But a reckless boy replied, "I have lived in Pajola and those gloomy huts before. No mere lap is going to charm me, nor a fin marker coerce me. I myself will charm the lap, and I'll do my own coercing, with my singing and my magic. Split his shoulders, break his jaw, cut his collar, crush his breastbone." "My poor boy," exclaimed his mother, "dwelling still on past adventures, boasting of your former travels. So you've lived there once before, in the cabins of the Northland. You have swum the stagnant pools, and have tried the hairy dog's tongue. You have tumbled down the rapids, speeded downstream in the rivers, tried the cataracts of Tuoni, sounded out the streams of Mana, and you'd be still floating there if your mother had not saved you. Then remember what I tell you. When you come to Pajola, the hillside will be full of stakes, and the dooryard lined with pillars. Which are capped with human heads. Only one stake is unheaded, and to cap that single stake, your poor head is marked for cutting." But with arrogance he answered, "Only fools and feeble fellows worry much about such feudings. Wars of 5-6 years' duration, even up to 7 summers. Brave men are not frightened by them, hesitate because of them. So get me now my fighting gear, warrior's tested battle harness. I myself will get the sword. Look out for my father's blade. Long and lonely in the cold, hid in darkness it has lain, weeping for a lifetime there, longing for a worthy bearer. So he got his fighting gear, warrior's tested battle harness, father's ancient sword unaging, old war comrade of his parent, gripped his weapon in his hand, struck it down into the flooring, thrust it hard into the planking. In his hand it bent unbreaking, like a green young chokecherry tip, or a new-grown juniper. Then he turned about and boasted, "There's no man in Pajola, in that log-walled Sedgeland village, who can take the measure of it, or compare it blade for blade." From the wall he swung his crossbow, stout bow from the wall peg, saying, "If there is a man in Pajola, in that log-walled Sedgeland village, who could bend this bow of mine, bend it, string it properly, I would take him for a real man, worthy to be called a warrior." Then the wayward Leminkainen, he the handsome man far-minded, put his ready armor on, got into his battle gear, and he called his serving man. "Come, my good and faithful servant, my hard worker, got with money, get my battle stallion ready. Harness up the war colt quickly. I am leaving for the party, orgy of the devil's crew." So the meek slave did as bidden, hurried outside to the barnyard, where he harnessed up the stallion, fiery red between the shafts, and re-entering he said, "I have done my job already. I've attended to your stallion, harnessed up your favorite racer. This the moment of decision, time to take his leave and go. One hand yes, the other no. till his finger sinews ached. But at last he took his leave, without further hesitation. Still his mother kept advising, parent cautioning the child, from the door beneath the lintel, from beside the kettle nook. My poor boy, my only son, O my child, my one assurance, when you're at the drinking bout, or wherever you may be, do not drink the pitcher dry, drink the measure only midway, give the other half the worse, bottom half to someone worse. A worm is wiggling in the tankard, grubworm groping at the bottom. Still his mother cautioned him, showering warnings on her child, from the farthest of the meadows, from the last gate of the pasture. When you're at the drinking bout, or wherever you may be, sit down on the half seat only, step out with a half step only, give the worse half to another, give it to a lesser person, then indeed you'll be a man and a well-respected person, fit for public courts and councils, able to attend the lawsuits, and a group of noted persons, as a man amongst the men. But at last he drove away in his sled behind the stallion, struck the racer with a switch, laid on with a beaded lash. Then the racer started forward, lopping lightly on his way. For a while he drove along, swaying, rocking in his sleigh. On the road a flock of grouse, black grouse, flew up in alarm. The whole covey whirled away to escape the running racer. Just some scattered feathers left, black grouse feathers on the road. Leminkainen picked them up, put them carefully in his pocket. No one knows now what will come to pass on such a journey. Anything can come in handy, of use in some emergency. Drove a little stench, when his horse pricks up its ears, lop ears starts to jib and shy. Wayward Leminkainen rose, stood up in his basket sleigh, leaning out to look around. It was as his mother said, as his parent had predicted. There's the very river flaming, across the road before the horse. In the river flaming rapids, blazing island in the rapids. Flaming hill upon the island, on the height of flaming eagle. From its throat the flame was foaming, from its beak the fire was pouring, all in fiery plumage blazoned, all around it sparks were shooting. Far off it seems the man far-minded, in the distance Leminkainen. Whither goes the man far-minded? Whither away the son of Lempi? Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded. To the feast of Pajola, to the secret drinking bout, move a little to one side, and indeed get off the road. Let a traveler go by, Leminkainen especially, so that he can pass there by you. Go along there past your side. Eagle answered, fire throat hissing. To be sure, I'll let him pass, most especially Leminkainen. Passed ahead right through my mouth, straight ahead right down my gullet. That way goes the road for you, goes for you and goes forever. That long, long drinking bout, to that everlasting session. What was it to Leminkainen? Nothing much to worry about. Put his hand into his pocket, drew the feathers from his wallet. These the feathers of the black grouse, stroked them softly in his palms, in the curve of his 10 fingers, and a flock of grouse created, a whole flock of capercaillie. Into the eagle's mouth he shoved them, into the monster's hungry maw, gullet of the fiery eagle, into the gums of the striker bird. Then he cleared himself of danger. First day, first doom, now behind him. Struck the racer with a switch, laid on with a beaded lash. At a good pace went the stallion, lopping lightly in its way. Drove a while a little stretch, hurried on a little distance. Now the stallion's acting oddly, and it's snorting nervously. Standing in his racing sleigh, he cranes his neck to look around. It is as his mother said, as his parent had predicted. There's a blazing pit before him, stretching straight across the road, running ever farther eastward and northwestward out of sight, full of hot rocks, blazing boulders. What was that to Leminkainen? He just made a prayer to Ukko. O Ukko, god of gods, or the father of the heavens, raise a great cloud from the northwest, send a second from the westward, sprout a third one from the eastward, raise another from the northeast, push them edge to edge together, crash together in one mass, let the snow swirl down in drifts, high and higher, staff deep, lance deep, on those hot rocks, blazing boulders, so that Ukko, god of gods, ancient father of the heavens, raised a great cloud from the northwest, sent a second from the westward, and a third one from the eastward. From the northeast raised a wind, pushed them edge to edge together, crashed together in one mass. Then the snow rained down in drifts, high and higher, staff deep, lance deep, on those hot rocks, blazing boulders. Fiery pit became a pond, slushy lake from bank to bank. Then the wayward Leminkainen conjured up a bridge of ice, straight across the pond of snow, right across from bank to bank. Thus he warded off that danger, and survived the second day. Struck the racer with a switch, laid on with that beaded lash. At a good pace went the racer, lopping lightly on its way. The racer ran a verst a second, sped the best horse of the land. Suddenly the horse was halted, stands stone still and will not budge. Wayward Leminkainen started up to look around. At the gate a wolf is crouching, in the lane a bear is waiting. At the gate of Pohjola, at the lane's end, ready for him. Then the wayward Leminkainen, himself the handsome man far-minded, put his hand into his pocket, fingers fumbled in his wallet, and drew out a tuft of ewe's wool, rubbed it soft between his palms and the curve of his 10 fingers. He blew once upon his palm, and a flock of ewes appeared, followed by a line of lambs. Hungry wolves then hurtled at them, and the burly bears attacked them, while the wayward Leminkainen drove by calmly on his journey. A little farther and he was there, at the yard of Pohjola. An iron fence had been erected, steely palisade all stopping, 100 fathoms underground, 1,000 fathoms skyward soaring. It is staked with upright lances, wattled with the worms of earth, and with serpents interwoven, and with lizards bound together. There their tails are weirdly waving, and their club heads weirdly nodding. To and fro the big heads swaying, heads turned outwards, tails turned inward. Leminkainen stops to ponder. It is as my mother said, as my bearer fully warned me. There's a towering palisade, from the earth to heaven erected. Deeper down an adder creeping, deeper still the stakes are driven. Higher up a bird is flying, higher still the fence up towering. Leminkainen was not worried, was not much alarmed at that. Drew his knife, his iron blade, slid it swiftly from his scabbard, cut the stakes and sliced the fencing, slashed the snaky palisade, flattened out the iron fencing from the fifth stake to the seventh, for the length of five fence posts, for the space of 7 stakes. He himself drives calmly forward to the gates of Pajola. On the road a snake is writhing, on the ground across the gateway, longer than a cabin rafter, even thicker than a gatepost. The serpent had 100 eyes, and 1,000 tongues the reptile, eyes the size of 4 sifters, and the tongues as long as lances, teeth as long as hay rake handles, 7 skiffs the monster's measure. There the wayward Leminkainen did not dare to touch the monster with 100 eyes, reptile with 1,000 tongues. Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded, black worm from beneath the earth, grub worm with the hue of death, slinker under last year's grasses, burrower under devil's bracken, and a twister through a tussock, and a wriggler in a tree root. Who has stirred you from the stubble, waked you up out of the grass roots, to crawl about above the ground, writhing here across the road? Who has lifted up your nose? Who has told you, who has urged you, to hold your head so high and upright, with your neck so stiffly standing? Was it father or your mother, oldest brother, youngest sister, or someone else of your great kin? Shut your mouth and hide your head. Tuck your darting tongue away. Kink yourself up in a tangle. Coil yourself up in a hoop. Give me roadway, half the roadway, that a traveler may pass, or get off the road entirely, off the road into the scrub, slither off into the heather, hide yourself among the mosses, waft away like a tuft of wool, pass off like a stick of aspen, tuck your head into a turf, stuff it straight inside a tussock, tuff your home, your hat a tussock. If you lift your head from there, Ukko God will break your head with steel-tipped needles, iron hailstones. That's what Leminkainen said, but the worm did not obey, went on hissing, tongue out spitting, vomiting its deadly venom at the head of Leminkainen. Then the wayward Leminkainen brought to mind some ancient spell, once recited by a housewife, which was taught him by his mother. Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded, since you won't obey my bidding, nor give way at least a little, you will puff up in great pain, and swell up in agony. You will split in 2, you bad one, into 3, you nasty scoundrel, when I search out your own mother, and reveal your honored parent, name your origin your coiler, at your rearing your earth's horror. The old ogress is your mother, water witch your honored parent. Once she spat upon the waters, spewed her spittle on the billows. This was cradled by the breezes, rocked on by the breath of water. For 6 years, 7 summers, out upon the clear sea surface, riding on the swelling rollers, by the water stretched and lengthened, by the sunshine warmed and softened, brought to land then by the breakers, washed ashore there by a wave. On the shore three nature spirits were walking by the surging sea, by the edge of booming breakers. When they saw the thing, they wondered, what would such a thing become if the great God gave it life, blessing it with eyes to see with? The Creator overheard it, and directly gave his answer. Out of evil only evil, devils vomit only devils. That is what would come out of it, if I gave it breath of life, and endowed its head with eyes. Demon Hissy heard the matter. The evil one examined it, and himself began creating, gave the breath of life to it. To the evil creatures spewing, to the spittle of the ogress, and the thing became a serpent, and was turned into the black worm. Hence the breath of life to stir it, breath of life from Hissy's ember. From what was its heart spewed out? Whence its heart but from the ogress? Whence the evil's creature's brain? From the foaming of strong currents. Whence the sense of the destroyer? From the foam of boiling rapids. Whence the bad one's head put on? Head is from a rotten pea seed. From what were its eyes created? From the flax seed of the devil. Whence the ears upon its head? From the leaves of devil's birch. From what was its mouth devised? From the buckle of the ogress. Whence the tongue in wretched's mouth? From the spear shaft of an imp. Whence the teeth of the nasty thing? From the awns of Tuoni's barley. From what does it get its gums? From the gums of a graveyard virgin. From what is its back erected? From the charcoal fork of Hissy. From what comes its swaying tail? From the braid hairs of the bad one. Whence its knotted guts begotten? From the belt of death it got them. So much for your kith and kin, for your vaunted reputation. Blackworm crawler underground, deadly colored grub of Tuoni, earthen-colored, heather-hued, all the colors of the rainbow. Take yourself away from here. Let the traveler go by. Leave the road and let him pass. Leminkainen's on his way to the feast at Pajola, banquet of the holy birth. And the weird worm did depart, off the road the 100-eyed. Let the traveler pass by. Leminkainen strides along to the feast of Pajola, to the secret drinking bout. Runo 27. The Duel. Now I brought... Hold on. It's saying something's off with the stream. What is it saying? The stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate? Huh. I'm not really sure how to solve that. Oh well. Runo 27, The Duel. Now I've brought my man far-minded, a scored Ati Islander, from the mouth of many deaths, from the reach of Kalma's tongue, to the doings at Pajola. How long is this Runo? Okay, it's not super long. To the doings at Pajola, homestead of the secret people, I must now indeed relate. Tell it with my tongue completely. How the wayward Leminkainen, he the handsome man far-minded, came to Pajola's log cabins, to the log-built homes of Sedgeland, crashed the party uninvited, joined the jamboree unsummoned. There the wayward Leminkainen, lively lad, the ruddy rascal, strode at once into the house, to the center of the floor, as the linden flooring shook, and the house of fir logs echoed. Then he spoke with brash defiance. I greet you, you greet me. Let the greetings two ways be. Listen, master of Pajola. Would there be within this house barley for a horse to bite on, ale enough for a man to drink? At the table sat the master, and disdainfully he answered, on this homestead there's a place where your stallions may be stabled. You yourself won't be forbidden, if you're decent in this house, from standing at the doorway there, at the door beneath the lintel, beneath two kettles and three pothooks. Leminkainen tugged his beard, which was black as were the kettles, and he gave his angry answer. Let the devil Limpo come, to stand up here in the doorway. Let him rub against your soot, let him scrape your crud away. But in bygone days my father, my well-honored parent, did not ever stand there in that place, at the door beneath the lintel. There was then quite room enough, proper stable for his stallion, horse washed clean for men to enter, place for gloves and pegs for mittens, even wall stands for their swords. Why should I not be respected, as my father was before me? Then he stepped up to the table, to the head where sat the master, and he sat down there beside him, pinewood bench beneath him bending, as it creaked beneath his weight. Said the wayward Leminkainen, maybe I'm no favored guest, since no mug of ale is offered to the new arrival. Ilpo's daughter Louhi answered, well, my boy, my Leminkainen, what a guest you are among us, come here to oppress my mind and distract my understanding. All our ale is unbrewed barley, still in malt the tasty drink, and the wheaten bread unbaked, and the meat stew still uncooked. You should have come the night before, or have come perhaps tomorrow. There the wayward Leminkainen curled his lip and skewed his head, as he twisted his black whiskers, and he spoke out in his anger. Here the food has all been eaten, bride ale drunk, the doings over. All the ale has been apportioned, mead measured out among the men. All the mugs have been collected, put away into their places. O you mistress of Pajola, long-toothed matriarch of Darkland, you mismanaged the whole party, fit to honor dogs, maybe. Baked the bread and brewed the beer, 6 ways sent out invitations, summoners in 9 directions, summoning the wretched folk, all the miserable and poor, called the riffraff and the robbers, and the lean and hungry tenants, laborers in their skimpy tunics, all the others too invited. I alone have been rejected. Why should this be done to me, in return for my own barley? Others brought it here in spoonfuls, others dribbled it in dishes, but I dumped it out in bushels, poured it out in many half-kegs, of my own grown barley corn, grains that I myself had sown. Maybe I'm not Leminkainen, surely not a favored guest here. Not a mug of ale is offered, not a stew-pot in the fire, nothing cooking in the kettle, not a 20 pound of pork, nothing here to eat or drink at the end of my hard journey. Opo's daughter, kindly matron, spoke then to her little handmaid, come, my little one, ever ready, put the stew into the pot, get some ale to give the stranger. Then the maid, the wretched child, rinsed the dishes, wiped the spoons, and scoured the ladles slovenly. So she fixed a pot of stew, meatless bones and stinking fish heads, old and withered turnip tops, and hard crust of old rye bread. Then she served him with a tankard, with a jug of nauseous brew, as a drink for Leminkainen, for an eager man to drain. Then she said, "Are you the man, man enough to drink this down, drain it to the very bottom?" Leminkainen peered down at it, scrutinized it very closely. On the bottom grubs were crawling, in the middle snakes were coiling, on the edges worms were wiggling, lizards linking round the rim. Said the wayward Leminkainen, shouted out the man far-minded, "To hell with all you tankard bearers, to Mana all your carriers, before the rising of the moon, before the setting of the sun." Speaking to the ale, he added, "Oh, you ale, you miserable wretch, you've become a beverage of no use to anybody. Though a man may taste a mouthful and throw the garbage on the ground with his left thumb and third finger, put his hand into his pocket, groped around inside his wallet, took a fish hook from his pocket, from his pouch an iron barb, which he dangled in the pitcher, and went fishing in the ale pot, caught the reptiles on his hook, angry adders on his angle, pulled up frogs at least 100, and 1,000 black snakes hissing, threw them on the earth for earth, down upon the floor he threw them. Then he drew his sharp knife quickly, slid the grim blade from its scabbard, cut the reptiles' heads off neatly, through their necks the swift blade slicing. He drank the ale down for good luck, and the black mead for his pleasure. Then he said to host and hostess, "Maybe I'm no favored guest here, since no ale is offered me. Not a better draught to drink, nor by hand more generous served, nor tended in a bigger vessel, not a ram or big bull slaughtered, not an ox brought to the house, nor any split hoof to this cabin." Said the master of Pohjola, "Why then did you come at all? Who invited you to come here?" Said the wayward Leminkainen, "An invited guest is good, but an unexpected better. Listen now, you Pohjolander, you who are the master here. Sell me then your ale for money, hospitality for cash." That made the Pohjolander angry, very angry, lost his temper, sang a pond upon the floor in front of Leminkainen, saying, "There's a river for your drinking, pond for you to paddle in." It's you. Excuse me. What did Leminkainen care? He said, "I'm no woman's heifer, nor an ox with tail behind me, to drink up your river water, or to paddle in your pond." Then he himself began to conjure, and to work his own enchantment. Sang a bull upon the floor, a great ox with golden horns. In the pond it splashed about, and for good luck drank it dry. The Pohjolander, the Longfellow, made a wolf by magic words, which he conjured on the floor to devour the beefy bull. Leminkainen, lively lad, sang a hare full white with winter, to hop around upon the floor, right in front of that wolf's mouth. The Pohjolander, the Longfellow, conjured up a hook-jawed hound dog, to devour the winter hare, rend the slant eye to ribbons. Leminkainen, lively lad, sang a squirrel on the lintel, to run about the rafters, for the dog to bark at vainly. The Pohjolander, the Longfellow, sang a marten golden-breasted, and the marten nabbed the squirrel as it sat upon a rafter. Leminkainen, lively lad, conjured up a russet fox, and it ate the gold-breasted, killed the handsome-coated marten. The Pajolander, the Longfellow, made a hen by magic words to hop around the floor there before the fox's mouth. Leminkainen, lively lad, used the magic of his words to create a hawk-quick talon, and it ripped the hen to pieces. Said the master of Pajola, "Things won't get much better this way, till the crowd of guests gets smaller. To their labors all the housework, and the strangers to the highway, even from the best of banquets. Out from here, you sprout of hissy, from the sight of distant people. Hurry home, you toad, you scoundrel, headlong to your own home country." Said the wayward Leminkainen, spoke the handsome man far-minded. "You can't banish any man, however feeble he may be, and remove him from his place, make him run away by talking." Then the master of Pajola whipped his sword down from the wall, grasped his fire blade as he challenged, "O you haughty islander, or the handsome man far-minded, let us measure swords instead, and examine both our blades, whether my blade is the better, or the blade of Island Ahti." Answered wayward Leminkainen, "What is left of my poor blade, broken on so many bones, battered on so many skulls? But that doesn't matter now, since this party won't get better. What is left but measuring swords? Let's see whose blade is better. In his time my honored father never backed down from a duel. Has the sun changed with the times? Is he child of lesser kin?" Whereupon he took his sword, bared his blade, his fire-swift steel, slid it quickly from its scabbard, hanging from his bast-lined belt. Then he measured up and appraised each the length of those two swords, Pajola a nail's edge longer, or by half a finger joint. Then said Ahti Islander, "Your sword's longer, you strike first." Then the master of Pajola made a pass, slashed out fiercely, aiming for the head of Ahti, missed his stroke and struck the rafter, struck the lintel overhead, cutting through the archbeam cleanly as the lintel flew in two. Then said Ahti Islander, spoke the handsome man far-minded, "What harm has the rafter done you, or what injury the lintel? That's you're aiming at the rafter, breaking down the very lintel. Listen, man, you Pajolander, you who are the master here. Fighting in this house is bad, brawling in the midst of women. We will break the new house down, and will stain the floor with blood. Let's go outside to the barnyard, or the meadow for our dueling, in the open for our fighting. Blood is fitter out of doors, and it looks better on the ground, and more natural on the snow." So at once they went outside. In the barnyard lay a cowhide, which they spread out for their fencing, standing on it face to face. Then said Ahti Islander, "Since your blade's a little longer, and indeed it must be mightier, better use it first and quickly, while you still have time to use it. Quick, before your neck is broken. Strike out, lay on, son of Northland." Then the fellow hit out wildly, struck once, twice, and a third time, but he did not touch his body, did not even graze the skin. Leminkainen then suggested, "Let me try a little now, for I think my luck is turning." But the furious man ignored him. went on flailing, hitting nothing, aiming at his mark but missing. Flame was flashing from the iron, fire was sparking from the blade, and the hand of Leminkainen, with its brightness flashing forward, at the neck of the Pajolander, said the handsome man far-minded, "Oho, master of Pajola, your neck is very red, poor wretch, like the glow of dawn so red." So the master of Pajola, he himself the very master, turned his eyes down toward his neck. Leminkainen struck a blow, struck the master with his sword, with one quick cut of his blade. With one slashing blow he struck him, sliced the head off from his shoulders, struck the skull off from his neck, as a turnip top is snipped, or an ear of grain is sickled, or a fin from fish is severed, and the head dropped to the ground, tumbled down onto the farmyard, as when struck down by an arrow, a large goose falls from a tree. 1,000 stakes were on the hill, thousands standing in the yard, heads by hundreds on the stakes. Only one of them was headless, and to that one Leminkainen took the head of the Pajolander, bore the man's skull from the farmyard, where he stuck it on that stake point. Then, returning to the house, Ati told the serving maid, "Bring me water, angry woman, so that I can clean my hands of the blood of your bad master, of that wretched fellow's gore." Now the dame of Pajola was indignant, angry, furious. Then she conjured up a swordsman, armed one man and then 100, and then 1,000 ready swordsmen to take the head of Leminkainen, cut the neck of the far-minded. Now the time has come for certain, time for him to leave and quickly. Things are getting out of hand, and the situation dangerous. Leminkainen could not linger, could not stay there any longer at the feast of Pajola with the secret crowd of drinkers. I hope to read more of this and finish the Leminkainen cycle, moving on throughout the book into the rest of it until I finish the rest of the book. But I think that that's a fair enough place to stop for now. And next time when I read through, I plan to finish the second Leminkainen cycle. And then from there, we'll move into perhaps one of the most famous cycles of the whole story, the Kullervo cycle. I look forward to it. Thank you, everyone.